So family and friends, as we approach the end of the year, one of the craziest years we've seen in hip hop in a long time, I'd like to take you through my Spotify Wrapped. Well, really the poverty version of the Spotify Wrapped, which is the Apple Music replay for 2024. I've been on Apple Music forever, but Spotify is just better. The playlisting's better. The interface is better. The song recommendations are better. Like, everyone I know finds random new music that sounds amazing through Spotify, whereas with Apple Music, you try to find new music, it's all usually pretty whack. But maybe it's just a case of the grass being greener on the other side. You guys let me know in the comments, what is the GOAT streaming platform? Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, Kanye Stem Player? What are you guys using, and who are your most listened to artists this year? Let me know down in the comments. Now, I want you to take this opportunity to roast me like you have never roasted me before. If you're new to the channel, then welcome. And if you're old to the channel, then thank you for being here. And you've probably realized there's many different good opportunities to roast me in the comments, but nothing will be better than me revealing my horrible music taste to you guys in this video. Now, keep in mind, I grew up on like DatPiff and LimeWire and my mixtapes and all that, so I'm still big on SoundCloud. Like, I don't listen to all of my music on Apple Music because most of my music just isn't on Apple Music. I'm on like a bunch of Future leaks, Young Thug leaks, old Lil Wayne, like if you know the OG Carter 3, the one that leaked on all those unofficial mixtapes like The Drought Is Over, then drop a comment if you know about that. I also listen to a lot of house music aside from hip hop, so a lot of that is on SoundCloud, and they have a better song recommendation software or whatever you'd want to call it. Like, you could find better new music a lot easier on SoundCloud than you could on Apple Music. So for those reasons and more, I'm mainly on SoundCloud, but I still do a lot of my listening to, full albums and official music on Apple Music. I think they also have better audio quality, like Dolby Audio or whatever that is. If you guys know, then drop a comment explaining what the hell that is. But let's jump into it. So for the top artists of the year, for me, I've listened to a total of 607 different artists. My top 10 is interesting, and mainly it's based on new albums that came out, except for a few outliers. So at number 10, we have Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign's group, Yen and $sign. That was just because of all the listening I did to Vultures 1 and 2, mainly in disappointment, to be honest. Gonna be doing some breakdowns on the best and worst albums of the year, so stay tuned for that. And no doubt, these Vulture projects will make an appearance somewhere on those lists. At number 9, I have Lil Wayne at 419 minutes. I listen to a lot of Lil Wayne. I've told you guys before, the first album I ever bought, the first CD, was the Carter 2 way back in like 2007, 2006. And he recently put a bunch of his old mixtapes on DSPs, so No Ceiling, Sorry for the Wait, I'm bumping all that still in 2024. I'm bumping a lot of old Birdman and Lil Wayne collaborations. I have a whole documentary dropping on their relationship very soon, so stay tuned for that. But tracks like Neck of the Woods, Get Your Shine On, Get It All Together, You Ain't Know, Leather So Soft, like, they got some classics together. So if you never checked out old school Lil Wayne and Birdman cuts, then you're definitely missing out. Then at number 8, we got J. Cole, 425 minutes. For a hot second, I thought that Tyler had lapped him in the big three, but J. Cole is still my GOAT, man. He recently released a bunch of his old mixtapes on DSPs, just like Lil Wayne. So I'm bumping Friday Night Lights, The Warm Up, Off Season. Those are the main three that I go back to, but let me know if you guys are still bumping J. Cole in 2024 after him backing out of the beef. At number 7, we got Ab-Soul, 460 minutes. He dropped, in my opinion, if not the best, then the second best album this year with Soul Burger. Phenomenal project. Stay tuned again for my year-end best albums of the year, best and worst. At number 6, we got Drizzy Drake with 675 minutes. Now, this is where you guys should roast me. If you've been keeping up with the channel for the last few months, then you know that I am, at the very least, very critical of recent Drake music and his behavior before and after and during this beef with Kendrick Lamar. But I think any hip-hop fan, especially hip-hop fans who have a soft spot in their heart for that 2010s blog era rap, then you can definitely appreciate the classics that Drake gave us very early in his career. So Far Gone, Nothing Was the Same, If You're Reading This It's Too Late, Take Care. Like, I'll never stop going back to these projects. And that's mainly why I'm so critical of Drake today. I think he found a cheap formula where he can make quick hits one after the other. And ever since then, ever since he's kind of stuck to that formula with, in my opinion, starting at Views, the views have just not looked as nice. I appreciate the energy he brought on Her Loss. There's a couple cuts on For All the Dogs that I'm okay with. More Life, Scorpion, Views, they all have some decent tracks, but the decline of quality is definitely there. Regardless, though, again, I still go back to If You're Reading This Is Too Late consistently. I don't know if it's the nostalgia, like, I don't know what it is about that tape. That's definitely my most replayed Drake tape of all time. Tracks like Madonna, Star 67, No Telling, Company, Jungle, like that album definitely has some of Drake's highest points. But let me know in the comments, even if you don't appreciate how Drake performed throughout this beef and the recent output of music that we've gotten from him, are you still bumping old Drizzy, or is he completely out of the rotation for you guys? Anyways, at number 5, we got Kanye West with 699 minutes. Again, a lot of those minutes probably came from me going back to Vultures 1 and 2 just to kind of hear if I could find something salvageable on those projects. Unfortunately for me, I thought Vultures 1 was okay. Vultures 2 was horrendous. And Vultures 1, it was just very forgettable. Like once Future dropped We Don't Trust You, the whole beef kicked off. I never found myself going back to Vultures. It was an impressive comeback though. Like he was completely independent. He went number 1 with the album. He had a number 1 hit with Carnival. He did that all independently. Definitely impressive. And again, just like Drake, you might not be a fan of Kanye's recent antics, but there's no denying the classics he gave us early in his career. So I'm still going back to Graduation, College Dropout, 808s, Pinocchio Story, beautiful track. I'm going to do a video breaking down that whole record in another video, so stay tuned for that. At number 4, very weirdly enough, we have Ty Dolla $ign at 740 minutes. I'm guessing this is attributed to the listens of Vultures, but I don't know why they put Ty Dolla $ign, Kanye West separately, and then at number 10, them as a group together with the yen and dollar sign symbol, all in my most listened to artists. Like, I definitely don't think I was listening to more Ty Dolla $ign than Kanye West. There might have been a couple tracks, but I definitely think I was revisiting Kanye's older catalog a lot more than Ty's, but he's got a lot of features, so maybe my listens to him came from those features. But at number 3, we got King Kung Fu Kenny Lamar, doubling the amount of minutes of my 4th place of Ty Dolla $ign. Ty Dolla $ign I listened to for 740 minutes. Kendrick Lamar I listened to for 1,466 minutes this year. Obviously all the diss records, and you'll see that those make a high placement on my most listened to songs for this year. Obviously also his old catalog as well. I revisited Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers a lot this year because a lot of the different aspects of this beef related to concepts from that album. So I think it gave a lot of fans a reason to go back and revisit it. I'm also always bumping Good Kid Mad City. That's like If You're Reading This Is Too Late. It doesn't leave my rotation. I'm listening to Damn a bit. The song Lust is my favorite song off that album, where he's rapping in those two different perspectives. I go back to Section 80 quite a bit as well. Then at number 2, we got Metro Boomin with 1,690 minutes this year. I don't know about you guys, but I think his album Heroes and Villains from 2022 was one of the best albums of this decade. Phenomenal records on that project. All the songs with Don Toliver, Superheroes was an absolute banger. His song with Young Thug, I think it was called Metro Spider, crazy track. Always go back to that. I don't know if he recorded that in jail, but a lot of the concepts of that record touch on his situation when he was incarcerated. The tracks with 21 Savage are absolute bangers too. He actually just dropped the music video for Walk 'Em Down, possibly my favorite song off the album. He dropped it like 2 years after the album released. The beat on that song is crazy, and the whole sequencing of the project, everything is just great. It's an amazing album experience. All the skits tie everything together, the little interludes with Future, the beat transitions, like all of it's very cohesive. Definitely the best trap album of the 2020s in my opinion, and he gave us another one of the best trap albums of the 2020s with We Don't Trust You. And that leads me into my number 1 most listened to artist this year, Future Hendrix at 1,906 minutes. Future's catalog is so big, man. Like, I'll be listening to him when I'm 40 years old just because he has so much different music. It's kind of like Lil Wayne. Like, I've been listening to Lil Wayne for 10 years and I'm still discovering new music from him that I've never heard before. He has thousands of songs. Same thing with Future, project after project. He gave us 3 alone this year. I still go back to his 2020 album, High Off Life. That has so many underrated gems on it. No one shows that project enough love. Like, that is one of Future's best albums. Songs like Too Comfortable, Riding Strikers, absolute banger. Pray for a Key, menacing song. The intro, Trapped in the Sun. The song with Drake, Life is Good. The collaborations with Travis, Youngboy, the features were great. The solo songs were even better. That was a phenomenal project. Highly suggest you guys go check that out. I think it got overshadowed because it came out right in the middle of COVID, and it had that massive single with Drake, Life is Good, so it kind of overshadowed the whole album, but super, super underrated project. I think I've been listening to that, obviously DS2, the 2 We Don't Trust You albums, Mixtape Pluto, and that's why he is my most listened to artist of this year. Do I think he put out the best albums this year? Probably not. I think Denzel Curry, obviously Kendrick, Absol, Doechii, they all put out better projects in Future, but he's given us so much material, again, that like you skip over some of it because there's just so much, but then you revisit some of these older albums that you never really listened to or gave a fair shot at in the past, and you realize there's so many underrated cuts on it. That's why I always say, no Diddy, but Future's music is a grower, not a shower. Like, you'll hear a new Future project and think, okay, this is something we've got from him before, but you revisit it months or years later and you realize, like, damn, there's a lot of bangers on this. So that's my top 10. Future, Metro, Kendrick, Ty Dolla $ign, Kanye, Drake, Absol, J. Cole, Lil Wayne, then Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign's group. If you don't want to count them, then at number 11, we had Pazza. Again, I told you guys I'm into house music. If you're into house music, definitely suggest you check out Pazza. He's one of the leading figures in tech house right now, and he finds the most beautiful samples and makes amazing house records out of them, like Too Cool to Be Careless, Pick Up the Phone, Dirty Cash. I know I'm talking to a lot of hip-hop fans right now, but the essence of hip-hop is sampling good music, and Pazza does that in an amazing, innovative way. So definitely suggest you check him out if you want a little something different to spice up your life. Now, let's move into the top songs. So, with just over a week of release, there's already almost a GNX track that made it into my top 10. Hey Now was at number 12 with 26 plays already. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm like addicted to a song, I'll listen to it over and over again on replay. Like, I'll have it in my car blasting, I'll rewind it, play it again. There's certain parts of that song, like when the beat builds up and the synths kick in and he starts singing a bit about spaceships on Rosecrans, like, I'll just go back to that part specifically and replay it over and over. It's such a hypnotizing banger. My favorite off the album so far, just because of its replay value. I don't know if it's necessarily the best song, but definitely my most replayed so far from the project. But that's how you know you made a great album, when you can't pinpoint what the best moment of the album was, and like a new song off the project becomes your favorite song off the project every single day. Like, you have a new favorite song every single day. Anyways, it almost cracked my top 10. The top 10 is gonna be Carnival by Kanye West. I'm surprised. I didn't think I played this song that much. I had it at a total of 27 plays. I can't go back to it now. TikTok ruined it for me. When it first came out, I loved it at the gym, especially Playboi Carti's verse, like, "She ride date like a carnival." It was cool. Then at number 9, we had Ain't No Love by Future Metro Boomin. Now, I think this was only in my top 10 because it was the song that came after Fried She a Vibe off that project. You know when you just like love a song, you're playing it so much, and then like the next song, you don't love it as much, but it's not worth it to skip, so you just kind of let it play. That's what Ain't No Love is for me. It's not my favorite off the tape. Decent song. At number 8, we have probably, besides Burn, my favorite song off of Vultures 1, which is going to be Do It by Kanye, Ty Dolla $ign, YG, and they have like an amazing Nipsey Hussle sample at the beginning of the track. Before Kendrick was giving us West Coast bangers this year, this was, in my opinion, the best West Coast banger of the year. Ty Dolla $ign on this song is incredible. It's just a fun song. At number 7, I had Kehlani by Jordan Adetunji. This song blew up late in the year, and the reason why I played it so much was it was actually my buddy who had a friend or something who produced this song. So before it even blew up, he was like tripping out because he's like, yo, this guy's song that he made the beat for is going crazy on TikTok. So I checked it out, and it's a pretty addictive song. It's not, in my top 10 best songs of the year, but I guess I played it a lot. I played it 30 damn times. So roast me in the comments if you don't like that song, or if you think I'm just a glazer of TikTok music. At number 6, we have Like That by Future, Kendrick, and Metro Boomin. Kicked off the whole beef. One of the best songs of the year. Best Kendrick feature of the year. I mean, he only gave us, I think, 2 features, but crazy song. Like, even when Metro premiered it as a snippet at like some event, I was like, this is going to be song of the year just by the beat alone, Future's delivery. Future actually has an unreleased verse on this record that they previewed initially before the album came out. So I hope they release that as like a remix or something eventually, maybe for the 10-year anniversary. Who knows? Maybe we'll get another Kendrick verse. Maybe we'll get a whole other Kendrick and Drake beef 10 years from now, but we can only dream. And at number 5, we got Pazza with Too Cool to Be Careless. This is one of my favorite songs of the year. It's a house music song, so if you're not into house, don't listen to it, but if you are, definitely suggest you check it out. Let me know in the comments if you've heard that record. At number 4, we got Fried She a Vibe by Future and Metro Boomin at 54 plays. Disgusting song in the car. This is not my favorite record off the album, but I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said it wasn't my most replayed song off the album. This song is addictive to me. The strip club banger, like Future's just talking about being in the strip club, it reminds me a lot of the energy he came with on his earlier mixtapes or his debut album. Like, this sounds like Magic Part 2. Addictive song. Again, not what I think is the technical best song off this album, but in my opinion has the most replay value. Then at number 3, we got Not Like Us. My favorite part of that song is when he gets into that whole like aggressive tempo at the end of the second verse where he starts talking about leaning on you like a pint of walk. Like, even DJ Academics knows those lines word for word. That's the best part of the song. I'm going to try to throw that clip in of DJ Academics singing it right here.
Set it up and pop, I'ma get him drunk. Won't pass the ox. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus 5.
If I don't, then I'm sorry, but you guys probably know the words. The energy he comes with on that second verse, I mean, the whole song in general, self-explanatory, right? I've done enough videos on this record for you guys to know how I feel about it. 61 plays, and that's not including the mashup that I listened to on SoundCloud of it, where it's mixed with the beat of Tupac's Hit 'Em Up. It fits perfectly on that beat. I'm going to try to drop a link to that remix in the comments. At number 2, we got, again, Kendrick Lamar with Euphoria at 87 plays. And I mean, I listened to this song so much that they included it in my most played albums of the year also. Maybe it's the bots, man. Maybe Drake's lawyers need to do some inspecting on my Apple Music and see if, Kendrick's been fiddling with the numbers here. But this was my favorite diss track from the entire beef. So many quotables, so many different little pockets he gets into, whether it's with his voice, whether it's like these different set of bars where he's going at Drake from different angles, the whole Sexy Red angle, the whole YNW Melly with him and J. Cole hugging on stage. The best part of the song where he's like, you think my whole life is rap? That's BS. I got a son to raise, but I could see you don't know nothing about that. Waking him up, know nothing about that. That whole part, insane. And I'm seeing a lot of people online saying that Kendrick was really the one who started bringing family involved when he said that, Drake doesn't raise his son in Euphoria, but they're forgetting the "I be with some bodyguards like Whitney" bar in Push-Ups that came before Euphoria. And on Euphoria, Kendrick said, if you take it there, I'm taking it further. That's something you don't want to do. Obviously, Drake found out the hard way. But yeah, with this track, all the beat switches, the Toronto accent he puts on at the end with the Crody bars, like I can't ever hear the Toronto accent the same again, and I'm from Canada. And then at number 1, pretty uneventful, but the song Move by Adam Port. Amazing song. It's a house record. Again, kind of a bland song, but again, just something that's very easily replayable. So something I listened to all summer in the car, on the aux, at parties, wherever it was. Simple loop on the beat, simple song structure, very surface level lyrics, but it's a hypnotizing song. When you got a little tequila in you, like, you can't stop playing this. But that's if you like house music. If you don't, feel free to roast me in the comments. But that's my top 10. Move by Adam Port, Euphoria by Kendrick, Not Like Us, Fried, Too Cool to Be Careless by Pazza, Like That by Future, Kehlani by Jordan Adetunji, Do It by Kanye, Ain't No Love by Future. Again, that's just because it came right after Fried on the track list. Then Carnival by Kanye, and then Hey Now by Kendrick. So let me know in the comments how whack or how dope this list was. Now, in terms of my top albums, it's funny, again, they included Euphoria in here at the 5th most listened to album with 388 minutes, but again, it's not an album, so we'll start at number 6, and that would be J. Cole's Might Delete Later. Now, what I was playing most from this project was obviously the diss track 7-Minute Drill, but then it got deleted a week after the release. I haven't revisited that project much, except for a couple songs that I think are good enough to be some of the songs of the year. Trade the Truth in Ibiza, definitely one of these songs of the year. Pie with Daylight and Absol as well, one of the best songs of the year. 3001, Stealth Mode, Crocodile Tears. Like, there's some really high highs on this project, and it made me excited for the fall off, but at the same time, there are so many lows on this project. The song Fever, even the intro off this record. Like, there are some straight up bad J. Cole records on this project, but at the same time, some of his highest highs as well. So it's a little unbalanced. I would give the album overall an okay rating, but simultaneously, there's like 3 records here that I think can make a strong case for being some of the top songs of the year. Those are the ones I went back to a lot. That's why it's in my top 5 technically, but really number 6 on this list. At number 4, we have Absol with Soul Burger. Incredible project. Highly suggest you guys check that out. His back and forth with Jid on the song Crazier is insane energy. The song Peace with Lupe and Punch and Absol doing AI vocals to basically talk from his deceased friend's Dough Burger's perspective on the third verse of this record is beautiful. The whole album is dedicated to his friend Doughburger. He has a little ode to Eminem's 8 Mile on the intro track 9 Mile. He's got an ode to Lil Wayne's Birdman Jr. record on the song Bucko Jr. He's got a song with Doechii on here where she's just kind of singing. Some insane tracks like Don Julio 70, Squeeze First 2. So many highlights on this album. This was my album of the year, all the way up until Kendrick released GNX. And that album takes the third position of my top albums of the year after only 10 days of being released. Already my third most listened to album this year, 527 minutes. I love every track. None of them are skips to me. Even the title track, GNX, I explained that in my previous video, or depending on when I released this, a couple videos back when I was talking about how the album performed on the charts. I mentioned GNX is an incredible record. It takes some time to get used to, but super dope. The whole album is amazing. I'm going to do a full review. I already have a breakdown on the channel of the album, so check that out. That's at number 3. At number 2, we have We Don't Trust You, Future and Metro Boomin. I hope that takes home the Grammy for Album of the Year. Future deserves one, man. I don't know if he's ever won a Grammy in his life, but this album deserved it. Great trap album. Some of the highest moments of the year in hip-hop with the verse on Like That, obviously. Other incredible features from The Weeknd. Rick Ross has a super dope verse. Tons of highlights on that project. I went back to it a ton. At number 1, though, we have another Future and Metro project with We Still Don't Trust You. Now, I think this one I listened to more just because it has a way longer track list. It's got like 30 different songs on this album. It's insane. Way too many songs. And I think if it had less songs, people would go back to it more and regard it as a much better project than they do. It's really slept on, and that's because when they released it, Drake still hadn't dropped a diss track, and many people thought he was going to stomp on their release night by dropping his first diss track right when they dropped this album. I think one of the first videos I did on this channel was talking about that. People were also expecting tons of disses on this album like we got on the first one, and there were a couple from The Weeknd and A$AP Rocky, but that's not what this album was about. This was a slower album. He slowed down the tempo. It was a lot of R&B cuts, a lot of singing from Future. Some beautiful records though, like the intro, We Still Don't Trust You, All to Myself, This Sunday, which is Future's own rendition to Feel No Ways by Drake, which is actually a track that Future ghost wrote for Drake, or maybe not ghost wrote. I think he's credited on it. He wrote it for Drake, basically. Red Leather with J. Cole, which came at terrible timing because everyone thought, why is J. Cole teaming up with Future after he just apologized to Kendrick? Is he, trying to beef with Drake and get on their side now? But J. Cole's verse on that record is just talking about how, Future has so many women, and J. Cole is like contemplating, should I stay with my, wife, or should I go be like Future and indulge in many different women? And he decides, he's good with just one girl. This album, arguably for me, has just as many highs as the first We Don't Trust You album that came out a couple weeks before this. Out of My Hands, Beat It, Came to the Party, Always Be My Fault, Overload. Like, there's so many highs on this project, and not even to mention that, it's a slower, more R&B fueled album, but then the last 7 songs are all like basically the start to mixtape Pluto. It's all mixtape records. The song with A$AP Rocky, the intro, Nobody Knows My Struggle, is an insane dark trap banger. I made a mistake. There's 25 songs off this project, but so many highlights amidst a lot of music. Basically, I don't want to say filler. There's a couple filler songs, but it's just too much music. It's a little too bloated. If he honestly divided this into like 3 different albums, like they would perform much better in my opinion, because there's literally 3 albums worth of material on this project. I don't think it's album of the year. It's too bloated. If he combined like all the records he dropped this year and picked like the best 12, then maybe he'd have the best album of the year. But, stay tuned for my list of the best and worst projects of the year. That's coming very soon. All in all, the most listened to ones on my list this year were at number 1, We Still Don't Trust You. At number 2, We Don't Trust You. Number 3, GNX. Number 4, Soul Burger by Ab-Soul. Check that one out. That's super underrated. And then at number 5 is Euphoria, but really it's Might Delete Later by J. Cole. And shout out to Tyler, the Creator, also. I didn't really talk about him much because he didn't make any of these lists, but he dropped a phenomenal project this year, and he was my most listened to artist in October, according to Apple Music. Funny enough, Drake's right-hand producer, Gordo, was my most listened to artist in July, and again, that's because I told you guys, I like house music a lot, especially in the summer, and he dropped a dope album too. Another highlight for me that went really unnoticed was, aside from Tory Lanez recording a bunch of new music while he's locked up, he also released a bunch of old bangers from like all the way back to 2014, 2015, so one of my most played songs in the month of September was Tim Duncan by Tory Lanez. That's a crazy track. Highly suggest you guys check that out. Let me know who made it onto your most listened to artists, songs, albums, everything for this year. Do you guys think this was a good year for hip hop? There was a lot of highs, obviously. I think we were missing like some truly classic albums, except for, quarter 4 really gave us a lot of incredible music. Tyler, the Creator, Absol, Doechii, if that was quarter 4. I don't know if that was 3 or 4. Kendrick Lamar, Lupe Fiasco, Denzel Curry. All those projects were phenomenal. There were some great albums, but I don't know, something to me is missing a little bit, and it has been for the whole 2020s decade. Like, maybe it's nostalgia, maybe, music takes time to fully digest, but if you go back to like even 2018, we had classic projects like Daytona, Kids See Ghost, Astroworld. I'm missing a bunch. But then you go back like 2014, 2015, and I mean, in my opinion, we're not getting projects like A Pinata by Freddie Gibbs, Forest Hills Drives by J. Cole, To Pimp a Butterfly. If you're reading This Is Too Late, like, again, it could be nostalgia, but I feel like we've been missing a unanimous classic in the 2020s decade. I think Kendrick came the closest this year with GNX. We'll see how that lives on. I haven't stopped playing it. Like, as you guys could see, within 10 days, it's already my top 3 most listened to albums of the year. That could be a future classic. I love that project. And the Beef and the, fourth quarter of this year definitely made it a highlight of this decade. But again, I still don't think the 2020s hold a candle to anything released in the 2010s. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'll be honest, like, I'm surprised at a lot of these records being on my most listened to songs and albums of the year. A lot of them are kind of whack, to be honest. Well, not whack, but like Carnival was in my top 10 most listened to songs of the year. I definitely don't think that comes close to being even like a top 50 record of the year. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Roast me if you'd like. Stay tuned for the best and worst songs and albums of the year, and I will catch you guys in the next one.
There's a lot of little nuggets in both of their disses that if it wasn't for these breakdowns, and salute to guys like this, Rapaholics, because I think they directly get it.